Hello movie fans, I'm Eric aka MrAniMonkey and welcome back to MrAniMonkey, the channel for everything animation. It's been a little while since I made a video on here, but I want to talk about this one thing I have from the D23 Expo. There's a lot of stuff going on with the animation in the Disney and the Pixar realms. Disney's new movie Frozen, which comes out around Thanksgiving this year, which I'm really excited for. I actually heard there's a lot of great stuff from there, despite the teaser trailer that we saw a few months ago, which was a little disappointing. And we also have, from Pixar, The Good Dinosaur next summer, Inside Out in 2015, and also Finding Dory in 2015, which I haven't really put many of my thoughts on that, but I will today. And the quote that I'm kind of basing this video off of is from Ed Catmull, one of the people who started up Pixar, and he's been there pretty much the whole time. For artistic reasons, it's really important that we do an original film every year. Every once in a while we get a film where we want, or people want, to see something continuing in that world, which is the rationale behind the sequel. We want those characters, which means we were successful with them. But if you keep doing that, then you aren't doing original films. So I feel like I've been pretty vocal on my opinions on Pixar doing sequels. But today I wanted to go through down the list and pretty much say what this means for Pixar and what the future of Pixar can be and the possibilities it has. First of all, I'm not entirely opposed to Pixar doing sequels. I think if there's a good concept for it and the original movie allows for a sequel to kind of be justified, then it's perfectly fine to make a sequel and hopefully it lives up to the original. My problem lies around the place where Finding Dory is coming from, where the original movie was open and shut and the structure was very, this is the movie, this is what you're going to get with it. And you get a lot out of it emotionally and the experience visually, it's all perfect pretty much. In my opinion, Finding Nemo is a perfect movie. Now you take that movie and put Finding Dory, it just feels like they wanted to make a sequel to something, and they did. And again, I have to accept that, because I'm not going to be able to stop this movie from being made. I have to accept that the sequel is going to happen, and I have to learn to like that. See, when The Amazing Spider-Man was coming out, for example. Here's an example of that. When The Amazing Spider-Man was coming out, everyone was like, oh, reboot, too soon. But pretty quickly I learned to accept that. I'm not going to stop the reboot from being made, and there's obviously reasons behind it, so I accepted that and just started looking forward to The Amazing Spider-Man. When it came out, I was ready for it, and I enjoyed it. So I feel like when we as movie fans are in an age where Hollywood wants to take anything familiar that the audience already is familiar with and wants to make something new out of that and sell tickets for it, I think it's important that we learn to have that skill of accepting that and trying to get the most out of the product. Now I'm still working on doing that for Finding Dory. In my mind there's a lot of things that don't really quite click. Hopefully when there's some content that comes out for it I'll be able to accept it, but for now it's really just, it just bothers me that they would do this. Pixar, a studio that's built on integrity and originality, is making a sequel to something that really didn't ever need a sequel ever and still doesn't need one. I got a message on YouTube recently from Adele MacLeod who asked me, what Pixar movies deserve a sequel? And I'm going to go down the list like I did for him. I sent him a big long message and I apologize for that. I'm going to go down the list of Pixar movies and say which ones really need sequels or should have sequels or can have sequels and how I would feel if they did have sequels. Obviously the first one is Toy Story. Toy Story is my favorite movie ever, and I was very vocal about it in the 21-minute long video, Toy Story 4 Why It Didn't Happen. So check that out on the channel. A Bug's Life is one that would be interesting to see a sequel from because it seems like it's the least popular Pixar movie. So I don't think that would really realistically happen because people don't really praise it like they do other Pixar movies. Which I like Bug's Life a lot. I actually love that movie. It's one of my... It's hard to say it's one of my favorite Pixar movies, but it was one of my favorite movies growing up. I wouldn't really be opposed to a sequel because there's a lot of things you could do in the world of bugs. There's like millions of insects that you could play with. The only thing is there's been a lot of movies like in the same vein, like Epic is one of them, Ant Bully I remember, which I never saw. So they could do something original with the idea of being small. I wouldn't be opposed to a Bug's Life sequel really at all. Monsters Inc. is one that I would still like to see a sequel to. Monsters University didn't really answer any unanswered questions or anything, and I wasn't really expecting it to. It was its own thing, which was really cool. I love the movie. I really want to see it again, actually. And Monsters Inc., I think the world sets up is like a very different. So, in the trilogy, the potential trilogy of Monsters Inc., you would have 3 different worlds. The Monsters University world, where everything's like new to them, and they're learning how to be scarers, and the scaring world isn't really set up yet for them. the Monsters Inc. world where it's all about scaring and the structure of that society. And then Monsters Inc. 2 where the possibilities for the idea of the humor being the source of energy for Monstropolis is all new possibilities. So I would think that'd be kind of cool to see, and people I know still want to see that. So, you know, Monsters Inc. 2, I would like to see it. Now, Finding Nemo 2, I already talked about this one a little bit. Just why it seems kind of pointless to me. It seems like Ellen wanted to do it, and other people at Pixar wanted to do it, so it kind of just happened. Hopefully there's some cool ideas, cool new concepts. I'm not looking forward to it strictly, but you know, I'm gonna try to enjoy it, try my best to enjoy it, and not be cynical about it. Incredibles 2. This is one I've heard a lot about from the past few years. Everyone's like, Incredibles 2, why don't you make it, Pixar? What are you waiting for? I read an article, this was 2011 then, in November, about how Brad Bird was saying, I'm gonna wait until I have a good story and I can have a story that can support a whole sequel, and it could be like Toy Story 2 was to Toy Story, which I thought was great. I was like, take your time with it. I don't care if I see this movie in 2020. It's gonna be good. I'm gonna wait for it. And not really much else has come out of it. I've actually heard that Brad Bird might be staying out of the animation world now that he's doing stuff like Mission Impossible 4, but I think he's one of the best directors Pixar ever had. Incredibles is my favorite Pixar movie besides the Toy Story movies. And then there's a lot of potential for a sequel there, and hopefully it can still happen. I'm really not sure if it's going to or not. It just kind of bugs me for some reason when people are just like, Pixar is so stupid for not making Incredibles 2. They obviously are aware that it's a possibility. This is definitely the #1 sequel I want to see from Pixar, as everyone else would. So Incredibles 2, I'd be entirely open to it. I think it would be really cool if they actually did it. And I think it's going to be the nicest transition from first movie to second movie. It seems kind of natural seeing how every superhero movie has to have a sequel these days. That brings us to Cars. Now, Cars 2 is a really controversial Pixar movie. Everyone says it's the worst. I still think it's the worst. But I did not like it. I liked the movie. I only saw it once. I'm gonna watch it again some other time. But, yeah, I don't think Cars 3 would be a really terrible thing. Sorry. I just think that it's not really for the Pixar audience that likes movies like Up and WALL-E and stuff like that. It's more for the audience of kids who will go see movies like Turbo and maybe even Despicable Me and stuff like that. I know some adults like that, but they're mainly centered around kids, which isn't really a problem because animation pretty much entirely in the movie industry is centered around kids. So it's not really a problem when there's a movie that aims at kids and not really all as adults. Now, as a Pixar, as a studio, has established themselves as movies that can be accessible for kids and adults. So when they do like a strictly kids movie, kind of caught everybody off guard. But I think it's not. I don't think it's a problem. So Cars 3, I would see it, and I would notice that it's not really for my demographic. Maybe they could do something to change it up with the to make it more adult. I think that'd be kind of hard to do with this property. But you know, it makes a lot of money and sells a lot of toys. Even Disney stole the name and made planes. So hopefully it stays in the Planes universe, but Cars 3, it wouldn't be a terrible thing for me. Ratatouille. No. Open shut completely. Fantastic movie. One of the most underrated animated movies ever, I think. And Brad Bird does a great job directing it. No. You have the story there. It's nothing really to build on. It's nothing really in that universe. It's just like France. So it's done perfectly the first time. Just leave it alone. WALL-E's an interesting one. The ending of WALL-E, how they kind of rebirth the Earth and like build it, and it shows in the credit sequence of building the Earth. They could do something with that, but I feel like it'd be too generic. Like a whole new society, and there's like a little kid running around in the society who wants to change something. It'd be kind of like Brave. I don't know what they would do with it. Up, probably around Finding Nemo, the #1 movie of Pixar not to make a sequel to at all. Stay away from it. I think it's pretty obvious why. Just, it doesn't make any sense. No. Brave. I think there could be something there a little bit, but I would not want to see it more than I would want to see it. But you know, there are some cool concepts for that world and the whole magical thing and what happens after that. But again, the whole thing with the bear, no spoilers, but the bear thing, I feel like that ends in the movie and nothing really could build upon it. Unless Merida turns into a bear too! Monsters University. I don't think they knew we were bridging the gap between Monsters University and Monsters Inc. at all. I think it was kind of like connected, even more so than I would have wanted personally. So yeah, it's all there pretty much. So those are all the Pixar movies that currently exist in the world and what I would think about sequels to them. There's actually a lot of them that I would like to see. I'd say Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, and pretty much those two are ones I would like to see sequels to. Definitely not Toy Story 4 is the one I'd be #1 most opposed to around that area is Finding Nemo, which is unfortunately already happening, and Up. Everything in between I would pretty much be opposed to as well. I think it's important for animation to stay in that originality realm, because every live action movie these days that's like a blockbuster is a sequel to something. Movies like Ice Age and Shrek and Despicable Me now as a new one, those are kind of taking over too, so it's difficult for new animated movies to really spring up. Like Turbo got demolished by Despicable Me too. So hopefully we get some original movies from DreamWorks and Pixar and everyone to really make some new memories for some new generation of kids who are going to be growing up watching these movies. Let me know about your thoughts on Pixar sequels down in the comment section below. Which ones would you like to see, which ones would be completely opposed to seeing, and what is in between. What's the middle ground for that? Good job on my main channel, MrAniMonkey. I'm doing stuff with my friend Hollis on there. Where we're talking about movies together, and it's a lot of fun, so hopefully you can check that out. Also on Facebook, I have some cool stuff going on there. On Twitter, also I just made a Tumblr, which I'm working on getting started up, so you can help me out by following me on there. I think that's how it works. I don't know how it works yet. That's all for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully I'll have reviews for Escape from Planet Earth and Epic and Turbo and other stuff that I didn't see in theaters. So they're coming on my rental soon, so I hope I can get reviews for that. But until then, I'll see you guys next time.